Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. Today I have with me owner and host of bday 99.1 Radio, Mr. Gerald Girbeau. Hey Gerald, how are you?
Hey Sonia, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Uh, well, I always gotta say thank you for having me on your platform, and it's always a blessing to be able to talk to someone who's doing the same thing that I'm doing actually. So much respect, much love to that. I thought I was going to be a lawyer going to Jackson State. First, I went to Jackson State University, and I was literally on a mission to be a lawyer. More like I was struggling between like constitutional law and entertainment law, which is an extreme if you look at it and think about it on a law aspect, But my work study was radio, and I did that so much that I was skipping class at Jackson State just to be at the radio station. So to me, I felt like it was where I needed to be. And on top of that, every job that I had could have possibly, from the time I was 18 to about the age of 33, 34, I had about 30 jobs, and I just kept going back to radio. So that's pretty much how I started. Yes, ma'am.
So you're originally from Jackson, and apparently you went to Jackson State. You're the I love, absolutely.
Yes, of course.
Okay. And so, Gerald, you started bday 99.1 back in 2012, and it was the first classic hip-hop station in the state of Mississippi. What made you decide to do a station highlighting only classic hip-hop?
Well, the situation at hand was I was getting I kept getting frustrated with other radio stations, in and around the markets that I kept working around, and they were like, well, these are the rules, and this is what we have to do, and, I've always been the person to make my own rules, and I was working for another radio corporation, which is very prevalent in today's society. I was working there, and I just, one day, and I was working down on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, so one day I was sitting there at my desk, and I decided to make that my last day to work for a corporation, and I was like, I'm going to work, and I don't know how, but I'm going to get my own thing. And literally, I said that in 2010, and the opportunity for me to buy a radio station came in 2011. I've been flirting with the idea a year before I purchased the radio station, So and I never thought that it was going to happen that fast. And ever since then, we've taken off, and we've been building a brand, the bday brand, since that time, since 2012, when I made the purchase.
And, I had just moved back from Dallas maybe a year or two before you started the
Right.
So
I remember meeting you then, yeah.
Right. So I was so excited when it started because I'm an old hip-hop, old school hip-hop girl. I love Eric B., Rakim. I love African Babuda. I love all of, Planet Rock. Everybody. I like old school hip-hop. And so I was very excited because I like some new hip-hop artists and I like a few songs, but it doesn't move me like old hip-hop. So I was very excited when you started the station.
Thank you. And that's the reason I started it, because I wanted to do something. I knew that the hip-hop that I grew up on seemed to be fading out, and I wanted to do something that was going to, keep a nostalgic feel to what I grew up on. And that's the other reason why I pretty much, started the classic hip-hop format.
Absolutely. So is starting a radio station easier now than it was back in the day?
No, I won't say it's easy because you have the struggles of, trying to compete with corporations that are radio entities in and around the nation. And it's never, doing what we do is never easy because just like I'm competing, the corporate stations are competing just as well. And the thing that sets me apart is that I have to be clever in thinking and trying to get ad dollars from people. And I've had to do that. And I've used what today's society is using, and that's, the social media aspect of branding myself as well. And I think I was one of the first people that started going live on Facebook and using it at the advantage that I felt like it should have been used. And so, from there, here we are. you know?
Yeah, you're right. So, Sarah, you're really involved in helping the community. You've been involved in several charitable events, the annual Sleep Out to help the homeless, 90s Old School Party with a Purpose, and the Pink Fridays with a Purpose, to name a few. Tell me about these events, and has the pandemic put all of this on a hold right now?
Yeah, it's now the Sleep Out, we're going to do that next weekend, but we're going to do it safe. It's always the day before Thanksgiving, and I never mind giving my time for that because one thing that I know, being out there, and I've got to, this is a story, I've got to go into it though, but being out there, we first started, with Mac Epps and his crew. They were doing it, and I just asked them one day if I could come join them, and they were like, yeah, man, we need all the hands we can. So, dedicating a night out in the park, what it does, and even with the situation that I do with Stephen James, even in New Orleans, we sleep out in New Orleans overnight as well, but this year we didn't get an opportunity to do it because of the COVID. But what it does, situations like that when you're doing them, and I do them to keep myself humble because I have been in a situation with my radio station. I've had to literally, and every company has problems, but when you're entity by yourself, you ever had situations where I've had to sleep in my van, so I know what it feels like to be in a situation like that, But I did it because I was just determined not to be in a situation. I mean, that situation was temporary, but I knew something better was going to come, and because I had to stick to what I was doing. So those type of situations, they keep you humble, they keep you grounded, and when you see a person, you always have to thank the Creator and say, man, thank you, because I know the situation I've been in, and I know what I could still be in, and I know what could still possibly happen if mistakes are made. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't work for 2.5 years, so I had to depend on people and, on certain things sometimes, and that was a challenge. But it does keep you humble. I've actually, the last couple of years, a few friends, I asked them to do it with me, and we went at the homeless, and I really enjoyed doing it. And I didn't put it on Facebook and take pictures of them. Right. I didn't do all of that. That is crazy to me. I mean, you can, of course, tell people you're doing it to promote it. But as far as how some people just do stuff so they can get likes, that's, so I never even mentioned it. Maybe just I mentioned it one time to get people to donate stuff, and that was it. However, Go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Yeah, and so I totally agree. I would love to. I'm a little nervous about sleeping out, though. Does any ladies do it with you guys, or is it just all men?
Yeah, there are plenty of ladies out. It seems to me that this year it's going to be warmer outside than it normally has been. It's always colder outside, but that colder thing, I'm telling you, it gives you a reality check for real, because it literally could be you in the shoes of these people. And yeah, the publicity, trying to get the publicity for it, no, I've never been that way, because my parents always raised me to love and to understand and respect humankind. Absolutely. Rather than, you taking a picture where it's showing that you're feeding homeless people. That's not a valid situation for me or to me. I do it because I feel like I have to do it. I live in the city of Jackson. I believe in my city so much that I could at any given time move to another city in the state of Mississippi that's rather affluent, but I choose to stay in my city because I believe in my city. I was born and raised here, and I always ask my parents why they never moved and bought a big house and in other cities. It was like, why? I just need to stay here in my community, and I feel it rubbing off on me, and I understand it. I get it at this point, of my life. So, yeah, I do it because I care about humankind more than I care about. I do it as a selfless act. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And please don't get me wrong, you or the listeners. I'm not saying you have to sometimes put stuff on social media to get the word out. I'm not talking about that. No, please don't. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about ones who take pictures just for the likes and, to show how great they are. And it's not about you. Like you say, it's being selfless and helping others. So I really appreciate the things that you do. And I may join y'all. Can I sleep in my car? I'm just kidding.
What can you do? Can you sleep in your what?
Can I sleep in my car and watch y'all?
Yeah, people sleep in their cars. They sleep in their cars, but sometimes. But if you're out on the ground with the people, if you're staying up down in the ground with the people, that means that you are a part of it. Yeah, you get to experience it the same way that they experience it. So, yeah, you can sleep in your car, and people do that. But, I mean, the experience comes if you are
actually out there.
Right there on the grind in it. You know what I mean?
We'll talk about it. After
Absolutely.
the show.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
So, Gerald.
Yes.
Tell me, what am I wanting to ask you? Although, you said it's not really stopping guys from doing what you need to do, and we can still give online monetarily or whatever to help people. But sometimes, except like what you're doing next week, sometimes with this pandemic, people miss the human aspect, like the touch or a hug or a smile, because sometimes when you're going through, you need those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how would it, do you, besides the sleep, because I know you guys are going to be, like face to face with the homeless, on the streets, but the other things that you do you think that affects people that's going through some things right now?
Well, what do you mean? Like, I think the question's a bit broad, so if you can narrow it down a little bit more.
Okay, what I'm saying is, like, how they have the soup kitchen and stuff like that. Sometimes because of the pandemic, a lot of people can't really just serve and, be there. They just, probably, I don't know, I'm just making this up. They may just give them paper plate, to-go plates, and not really just talking to them. You can't really spend a lot of time with them because of what's going on. Do you think that's going to be missed during this holiday with a lot of people that's going through stuff? Do you understand that?
I think people interacting with people is the biggest, thing that we're dealing with this COVID thing. But if we don't get to a place where we can get this thing under control, then it's going to definitely be a long time before we can interact and hug and do anything with people. Like, I just read something over the air live today where the CDC is urging people not to travel for Thanksgiving. This is how bad this thing is. So if we're going to beat it as a human race, we need to be able to, just sit it out for a little while. There's always next year,
Right.
Sit it out for a little while. That way we can have interaction with the people, and we can get back to the people, put our arms around them, and tell them, hey, man, it's good. It's okay. I've been there before. Like, I don't live a witness. I have been there before. I've literally had no food to eat in my lifetime, and a lot of people don't know that about me. They think a lot of people see a lot of on the outside stuff. They never understand or see what I go through on a daily basis because I have employees. I have crazy bills that probably cost what a car would cost for on a monthly basis. So we've got to get to a point to where we're able to have that interaction with people again.
Yeah, I totally agree. We actually, my family, it was going to be like only 6 or 7 of us, but we've canceled Thanksgiving, and we're still going to cook, but we're just giving to-go plates, and that's it. I actually was going to be flying out to Orlando in 2 weeks, but I think I'm going to cancel that because it's too much going on, and like you say, we have next year if we're safe. And we have to stay safe. So speaking of COVID, what are your thoughts on 2020 overall with COVID, the racial tension, and the presidential election that we're still dealing with?
I'm honestly, personally, I'm so over 2020. I thought because it marked a 20-year anniversary, a 20-year mark, I thought 2020 was going to be something different.
It's different, all right.
It's totally different. I wasn't expecting this experience. As far as the presidential situation, I think you have a person in the White House at the particular moment who is only concerned with what he wants. And when you're not concerned with what the country needs as a whole, then I don't think, and that goes for anybody, I don't think you need to be in public life. You don't need to serve as a public person. The job of a president is a temporary position, from my understanding of it. I got a political science degree, so I can get political, but I choose not to.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a situation where you have a person in office that only cares about, seems to me, what matters to him and the immediate people around him. And if you are not with him or on his team, you get thrown out of the bus, and that's it. You're done. And I don't understand what the big deal is about all of this. Now, we'll say this. As far as the Black Lives Matter movement is concerned, I applaud these young people that are, involved in trying to change the narrative for African Americans. And my whole thing is always been, and I always try to ask people, do they know what the difference is between a moment and a movement?
That's good.
Yeah. And the moment, and do you know, Sonia, what the difference is between a moment and a movement?
A movement, it's
one word. It's one word.
ongoing. A moment, for me, and that's my opinion. I mean, I don't know what word you're looking for.
So, the difference between a moment and a movement, for me, it's sacrifice. One word, sacrifice.
Yeah.
So you got these young people out, and they've been protesting for Black Lives Matter, and then you got people involved in Black Lives Matter. Once George Floyd happens, it seemed to me, that was it. Like, people have been tired. They're tired of being sick and tired. And, they made sacrifices. Even if they got COVID, they made the sacrifice for the right reason. Somebody had their moment of killing someone, which was terrible and horrible to watch, for the nation to watch. We watched somebody die on social media, So these guys, these cops, they had their moment, and the movement is a forever situation that has to be recognized all the time,
Absolutely. And,
it's bigger than affirmative action, any of that stuff that they've come up with in the past. Like, there has to be total freaking changes for this,
Total, absolutely. I told a friend, and I actually put it on social media when after George Floyd died, and everybody was protesting. Even what amazed me, the Quakers, they protested. From my understanding, they don't even have electricity, so it's like, wow, how did they even know? Witches were protesting against racial equality. Against racism. That amazed me how everybody came together. And I said, reminded me, I have a friend, when we were in college, she had real bad acne, and she used to have to use this acne medicine. Well, the medicine made her acne worse until it got better. And I said, what's going on in this country? It's getting worse, but the medicine is working. And so what happened to George Floyd was very horrific, and it was horrible. I hate that he is gone, but his death, has made a difference in this country. And people, one reason they didn't have a choice, they had to watch because everybody was at home. So that was one thing. So, some people didn't realize that, they're thinking, oh, he was doing this, he was doing that, but they actually saw somebody die in 8 minutes with a man's knee in his neck, and that is bananas. So it's ugly right now, but I think the medicine is working, and I'm praying that things will get better. So we shall see. What were your thoughts on how the sports world played a very intricate part in expressing their feelings of systemic racism in our country?
I actually, two things. I think, the NBA for stepping up before the NFL. I don't like the fact, and I don't know anything about football. It never interested me at all,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that we as African Americans support something that's willing to work our people and throw them under the bus because some guy said, don't you just wish you could just fire those bastards, or whatever he said. I don't like the fact that we support situations like that. I'm on Facebook, I'm on my timeline, and I see people, well, our Saints did this, and our whatever did that, man. I can't support anything like this. Like, after, what's the fellow's name that was playing for San Francisco?
Kaepernick.
After, he didn't do anything wrong. But the problem is like they realized, got mad because he did something that he believed in, and you held it against him. That's like wearing your hair a certain way. You're holding that against somebody. No way. No, you. And so we as people, as African American community, we're supporting this. And I really don't like how, we as African Americans still support football after everything has been done. You know, we still celebrate it. We do all of that. And I don't get it. I like the way the NBA stepped up, but I don't like what the NFL is doing and what they've been doing, you know. So,
well,
yeah, I mean,
they did apologize. And
yeah, but see, that's where I got to stop people, because it's a freaking apology. There's nothing being done that's going to change the narrative as far as the NFL is concerned. Like, I don't keep up with football, but I haven't seen anything change, you know?
Mm-hmm.
See, there has to be some change. You know, yeah. How many black head coaches of football teams have you had so far? 2.
It's only
right?
2 or 3, yeah.
Okay, so that to me that's a problem. That's a problem.
Oh,
That's
I
a big
absolutely
problem.
agree. I absolutely
So
agree.
until, you know, I would say to us as an African American community, why support something that doesn't support what you really are? They use you as pawns on a chessboard, you know. So yeah, I don't like that. I don't do football. I never liked it. I mean, I choose not to understand it. Could I understand it? Yes, but I choose not. Yeah.
Well, I have to try to understand it because I talk about it. So I have to watch the football games. I did for 2 years stop watching after, you know, with Cap. I did not watch for 2 years, but when I started the show last year, I had to start back watching because I have to talk sports. So I totally agree with you. There has to be some change with the apology, and as well, he did. The commissioner did apologize to Kaepernick. It took a while for him to apologize to him.
See, there's the problem right there, though. There's where the problem.
Oh, absolutely.
It takes you 2+ years to apologize for making someone lose their job because of something he saw that was happening in our community, because then, right then and there, things were brewing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They were brewing. They've gotten to this point. I think, well, go ahead.
No, I was just saying sometimes people really don't see the problem. And in his apology, he said, you were right, and we should have paid attention. So, I mean, I don't know if this was real or what, but I'm just telling you what was said. So sometimes an apology, you know, think about stuff that has happened to you, and it took people a few years to apologize to you, or never. So, you know, that's what I'm just saying, but I don't know. Not taking up for the NFL at all, because I totally agree with you. A change has to be made, definitely, with the NFL. They are really, really deep-rooted in a lot of stuff and a lot of racism. So, and all of, you know, most of the players, 70% of the NFL are black men.
They're African American, right?
Yeah. So.
And I've read stories where I've heard the stories where they wouldn't even let black people be quarterbacks in the past because, you know, a doctor said that their brains were too thick. You know, their brains are too thick. And I'm just like, okay. So, and it just shows you, I don't watch football, but I'm just saying what happens, you know?
Right. I understand. I totally agree. So how did bday, did you guys show any solidarity in the fight for equality? Were you able to get involved in any way?
Yeah, we were there on the scene when they had the Black Lives Matter protest downtown back in June. I think it was June, July, something like that.
Okay.
We were downtown, and we were supporting, and didn't I get on stage and say something, a word? I think I did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, so, you know, equality, I'm definitely with it. Women's rights, oh, my gosh. I'm definitely with it. I let the ladies at the station take lead because one thing I know about ladies, once y'all get something, y'all can take it and run with it. So I actually listen to them. They tell me what to do, and I pay them. So they tell me what I have to do. So and that's fine. And but for the most part, I make sure I take care of them. I'm always asking, hey, yo, are you good? And there's some days when things are crazy around the studios. And, I may throw them a gift card or something and say, hey, you worked hard this week, or get your nails done, or do something like that. So, and it's just to make sure that my employees are good. Because one thing about it, your business can't work well without employees. So you have to treat your employees are like relationships, just like houses. You have to treat it. You have to keep it manicured. You have to keep it, good. You have to keep the morale straight in there. So, so that's where, it all comes in. So I make sure I take care of my employees.
I love that.
Like
that's cool, girl. That's cool.
Yes,
Even
ma'am.
fingerprint? You get
Even
fingerprint?
They get bonuses every freaking day. They all get bonuses and stuff when I don't get it. Yeah,
that's
they
good.
do. They definitely get bonuses when I don't. So, yes, ma'am. So, I try to look out for my people as much as I can.
That's awesome. So, what's next for Gerald Girbeau?
Oh my gosh, man, we have some stuff coming up. I'm doing some new stuff in the community that I can't talk about yet, but I'd love for you to have me on the show again.
And I want to be involved with whatever you got going on in the community. I want to talk. I want to be involved.
I'll tell you like this, and not in a bad way, but I'm going to get all 6 Infinity Stones. I'm in nerd mode now, so I got to get all 6 Infinity Stones. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Gerald, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Tell the listeners how they can follow you on all social media platforms as well as listen to your radio station.
I'm personally on Facebook only. I don't do the Instagram thing, but the station is on Instagram at bday991, on Facebook at bday radio FM, and on Twitter at 991 bday FM. And our website is 991bday.com. And we just launched the afternoon office party, and that's with Fingerprint, me, and of course Yolanda. Her name, we call her Bottle Popper because she always starts stuff at the station. And you'll see that tomorrow if your audience goes and checks out the station, and you can listen to us at 99.1 FM on your radio dial, and you'll see that. We've created a situation where people get a chance to interact with us while we're live on the air, more than just phone calls. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube and some other places as well. So,
I listened to the afternoon party on my way home from work.
Yeah,
so
afternoon office party. What did you think about it?
I love it. I think it's a nice vibe. I like that.
Thank you. Absolutely, and I appreciate you having me on your platform tonight.
Absolutely, you're welcome. And guys, you can but you can follow me on Facebook at She Say Sports, on Instagram at She Say Sports 23, and that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia with She Say Sports, and I'll see you on the radio.